Hello everybody, hello, how are you guys? This is Chris Barron for the 6th of December 2020. How are you guys? Today I'm gonna announce the winner of this week's contest. It was for an icon. I'm gonna share my screen right now so you can see what's what. And this is gonna be the final stream for this year and probably for a while now. Basically, I've done this for a number of months, and I decided upfront that I'm gonna do it for a certain period of time. And after that, if I'm not happy with the engagement that I'm getting, I'm gonna stop. And to be honest, I didn't put enough effort into my YouTube channel. I didn't change the thumbnails and whatnot, so I'm totally 100% to blame. On the other hand, I'm constantly updating videos on Udemy. I'm re-recording in 60 FPS at a higher quality in CC 2021 in the latest version of Adobe XD, and all that really it takes up a lot of time. So these streams, unfortunately, they do take quite a bit of time. Not actually doing them, unfortunately, it's actually rendering them. When I render them, it takes at least 25 minutes to render, so that's a bit unfortunate. But for whatever reason, it is what it is. I'm gonna stop streaming, at least for a while. I'll see what's what regarding the contests and whatnot. I may continue to do those, and I may award the winner in another fashion. But let's get to today's subject. Let's get to this part right here. So the idea was to get an icon for my website, basically to accompany my logo, right? This is the current logo. It's pretty basic. It's text-based. It's actually a font that I customized, that one of my friends actually helped me customize. So it's not completely standard. And I think that's one of the ways, by the way, to make an awesome logo. Just, pick a nice typeface, then convert it to a shape, and then just play with it. I think that's one of the best ways to make something really nice. And it's actually easier than you think, because if you choose a decent font from the get-go, basically about 50% of the job is already done, right? And then it's just a matter of finding certain things that work, finding certain combinations and certain things that make sense. For example, let's have a quick look here. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at this logo, right? So this logo is again very basic, as you can see, and the A is modified, right? I basically converted it to a shape, and I removed this part here, right? The same thing here. So this is the type of thing that you can easily do rather than complicating things and using complicated icons and free pick and flat icon and whatnot. Just go ahead, fire up the type tool, write something here, whatever that may be, right? And then obviously pick a color. And by the way, in CC 2021, you do have something here, convert to shape, which is obviously fantastic. And then with the direct selection tool, the white one, you can just, select certain parts of it and then do whatever you want with it, just modify it in whatever the way you want, things like this, maybe deleting parts of it, or, just moving it up, or just whatever you want, just look at things that most major companies do, right? Because again, what I did here with the A is basically nothing all that special. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. So this is the type of thing that I would actually suggest you do, rather than trying to be overly creative and doing something that you don't have the skills to do. Because basically that's one of the reasons why I chose to get a concept and not the actual icon, because creating logos like these ones, it's extremely difficult, right? It's not technically all that difficult, right? If you know your way around the pen tool, basically you could do most of these. It's actually the thought process, the creativity behind it. A lot of things go into such a logo, right? Into these types of things. Most of these are absolutely fantastic, right? So this is why I only wanted the concept, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a professional, an illustrator, basically someone that does these types of things on a regular, and probably I'm gonna end up with something like this, right? With something really polished, really nice. But again, I am gonna use a professional. So even though I know how to maybe lay some tile if I Google it, or if I look at some YouTube tutorials, I would much rather hire a professional, right? So this is the same thing right here. Now, looking at this specific contest, things are actually quite simple. All you had to do was you had to colorize this icon, just add a bit of color that would match the existing website, right? So basically orange, a bit of blue, and maybe some yellow, right? This was the sketch that I made with one of my friends, Alex. And yeah, basically I needed it to match the existing color scheme. So this is what some of you guys did. Unfortunately, only a handful of people actually participated. I think only 3 or 4 people actually participated, which is obviously a shame, but it is what it is. And these are the entries, right? Now, let's go through them one by one and we'll see what's what. Um, I think I think we can immediately eliminate this one, right? I think this one is, rainbowish. Um, Obviously, again, just to set the stage, I'm not actually looking at something like this, something really polished. So none of these will actually be used as they are, right? Uh, it's a very high chance that even, the expression, the eyes, just about everything is probably gonna change. But I was looking at how you guys would imagine it, right? Because certain combinations would 100% not work, right? For example, this one, the blue horse, it's hard to actually make it work, right? A blue horse, we do have that huge company that has a purple cow, so I guess you could potentially make it work somehow. But all in all, I don't think this is gonna work either. So this one being multicolored, I don't think it's a good concept. It's not a good idea. This one with blue, it's not this specific shade of blue, nor is it a blue that actually is somehow related to the color scheme. Now you could say, hey Chris, but you do have blue here in your backgrounds. That's true, but one thing that you should know regarding e-commerce websites, and actually most websites, is that things constantly change. The content constantly changes. It always shifts, right? So this is why when you have a look at what people design here, it's really important to realize that, especially for e-commerce websites, it really doesn't matter what you use, right? It really doesn't matter what photo you use, because there's a very high chance that that's not gonna be used. On the other hand, for presentation websites, for example, this one, well, this is really important because this image is 100% gonna be used, right? Or these ones here. So there's a time and place for things that are gonna be set in stone, and things that are gonna be temporary, right? These are temporary, right? These constantly change as I'm learning more and more about photography and product photography, more specifically. These are obviously gonna change. So unfortunately, this is not gonna work, right? So that's that. In terms of gradients, again, this is something that's really not gonna work, because the best gradients are very simple, right? One of the best gradients that you can do in 2021 is the following. You're basically gonna have a semi-flat, not this one, right? So this is something that you should totally avoid. This is what beginners love to do, that and adding a bevel and emboss and other things. What you should do is actually start with something really simple, and just go for something like whatever. Let's go something like this, right? And then on the other side, we're gonna paste the color code, and then we're just gonna go a bit up or down, something similar, right? You don't want a huge difference between them, right? So something like this would actually be my preference in 2021. These are the types of gradients that you should use, right? And from what I've seen, people love purples for whatever reason, and I'm drawn to them as well. And on the other side, people love teals, so colors like these ones, basically. So these can work pretty good as well. Again, not all that different. So something like this, right? So these are the types of gradients you should be using. What we have here, it's way too complicated. So these two, way too complicated, because basically what you're doing here is you're actually creating shading, right? You're trying to to give the horse dimension. You're trying to basically create it, make it 3D basically, right? Which obviously is what I want, because we can see the the ears go outside this frame, and the same thing for the nose, whatever you call it. Um, but you shouldn't do it through shading, because when you shrink it down, because look, have a look here. This is very, very small. When you shrink it down, these types of complicated gradients don't work, right? So you should keep it as simple as possible. So for that reason, you can't really use gradients in that fashion. I understand the concept, behind it, which we're trying to do. Again, give it dimension, give it depth, make it 3D. But yeah, these are not going to work. On the other hand, I think most of you guys watching this are probably drawn to these two, right? So it's a toss-up between these two. It's difficult. It's difficult. I think this is a bit happier than this one, right? I think this one, for whatever reason, talks to me more. In terms of execution, they're both the same. There's nothing to shout about here. I think it is what it is. If we're gonna shrink it down, yeah, I think again the white one is actually much more interesting. I think the white one speaks more to me. Let's have a vote here. Let's go white and brown, and we'll see what people think. So white and brown, and please upvote. You know the drill. Upvote and then upvote this one. I'm not really sure. I think these may be done by the same person though, because from what I see, the styling is nearly identical. So I think it doesn't really matter all that much. But still, I think this is a good exercise, and I think it's really important that I know what you guys prefer. A chocolate horse would make more sense, but I'm not really a big fan of chocolate, even though we do use it in about 2 or 3 recipes. I think white is more pure, right? I think white stands out a bit more. The background, though, it is really clean, actually. Let's actually have a quick look. Let's see how this is gonna look like in Photoshop. Let's do the following. Please, guys, go vote, right? So that's pretty important. Please go vote, so we can see what's what. Let's actually add this part here just for the hell of it. And now let's see whatever. Let's go with this one. Let's go with the white one first. Let's see how it looks like. It's gonna be really small, unfortunately. I am willing to make the header just a bit larger, and truth be told, the mobile version is the most important one, so I don't think it really matters all that much. Let's have a look. Again, this is not the polished version, so we're basically just comparing the white one versus the chocolate one. There's nothing more to it than that. Let's actually have a quick look here. 7.52%. Let's give them the same chance. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but if this was 9% and this was 7%, we naturally have a bias towards bigger things. So if it's slightly bigger, I know for a fact that we're drawn to the bigger one for whatever reason. So let's see. Well, you know what? At the small size, I think the chocolate one works a bit better. I think it's a slightly better fit. On the other hand, we do lose its nose. The nose would have to go, somewhere here, I think, for that to actually make sense. So I think we are losing that, and it's a real danger that the horse becomes a donkey, and that's really something that I really want to avoid. So this one, I think it's a bit clearer. Let's have a look. So people prefer white. 11/3. So yeah, I think it's a clear-cut decision. So yeah, okay. This one is the winner. This one is the winner. If the person who designed it is in the chat, please let me know, because I'm really curious. When I host these things, I try my best to not actually look at the names. I just download them. and I actually download them really quickly. Just one click and that's it. I don't read the emails, I don't read your explanations, nothing, because I'm trying to be as fair as possible. So yeah, I think that's one of the most important things. There's more to be said about the logo. Basically, I think the most important part is for me to actually have a symbol that's playful, and I think that's what I tried to show you guys here through these sketches. Because you can see, again, this is the type of thing that's really important when you're trying to build a brand identity. This is how it's called in general, and this is what you're gonna find on 99 Designs. So brand identity just talks about the fact that you want your logo, your typeface, your color scheme, just about everything to say something about your company, right? It's something regarding your personality, right? Because look, if I have my hair shaved, if I have some earrings in my nose and whatnot, that tells you something about me. If I have tattoos on my face and whatnot, again, that tells you something about me, right? Because obviously we're all people and we judge people, but by how they look. And we do the same with companies, right? Depending on the fonts, the colors, and whatnot. So we're either drawn to it, or on the other hand, we're pushed away by it. So when you choose certain colors and certain expressions and whatnot, you really have to make sure that you talk to a certain audience, right? So my audience is basically women over the age of 30, from 30 to 45, right? Possibly with kids. So this is why this specific one is really, really important. This specific, let me actually show you the real deal. By the way, this is why I absolutely love Dropbox. I have 2.6 terabytes of information, and I don't have to organize my hard drive in any way. It's just there. So that's absolutely fantastic. I just click, I search, and it is what it is. So yeah, looking at this one, again, this is the final stream. So this is the final analysis that I'm going to do for you guys. This is gonna score quite high for the women, right? Because it's playful, it's nice, it's non-aggressive, the colors are soft, the guy is smiling, he's clearly happy. There are all sorts of traits here that would make this a lovable character, right? And it's very similar to this one or this one, right? So I think women will probably like it, right? If I were to wager, I would say that probably this is gonna speak to women. On the other hand, children, again, they're probably gonna love it, right? So if I'm gonna use it like this, there's a very good chance that children might like it. That this may be a mascot that people that children will relate to, right? Because children will never say, okay, I want that specific brand, I want whatever, Sony, whatever, right? If there's a character behind it, that's think of Pikachu, right? Obviously, Pokemon is something that you learn, but the image of Pikachu is essential, right? At a young age, that specific image, that shape, that color, that smile, that specific thing draws you in, right? So this is what basically I'm trying to do as well. I'm trying to make young children, 5, 6, 7 years old, to ask for my specific brand. But in order to do that, I obviously need something that will speak to them. So this is why, again, this type of thing would work really well, right? And again, this type of thing, or this type of thing, or this type of thing. Now, again, if I were to say, I would say that probably women would have a +7 reaction, 7 out of 10, right? Probably children would have probably a +9 out of 10, or something along those lines. And at the worst case scenario, I think men would be -1, right? So this is how I would see this specific logo. And again, I think this analysis is really important, because this is how you actually create a website, a logo, packaging, whatever you want, right? As a designer, you have to think about the target audience. Now, here's the thing. I don't want to push away men, right? Because, for example, this one may be a bit too feminine, right? Even though the cap is backwards, or this one, these, although they're cute and although they may speak to these two target audiences, men would find this a bit too lovable, a bit too sweet, right? So you have to really make sure that you know your audience. For example, this is why certain yoga studios have very soft colors and certain imagery and whatnot, And I think I actually said that in one of my videos. I actually showed you three different gyms, websites of gyms, right? One was really dark and hardcore and people with muscles and whatnot. On the other hand, another one was really clean. It was a lot of pink, a lot of purple, washed out purple and whatnot. And again, the idea is, do you want to push away certain people? The yoga studio that only accepts women, yes, it does want to push away men, right? In this specific case, I don't want to do that because I think this is a healthy, nutritious breakfast or lunch for the men as well. So this is why I don't want to go for this route. I don't want to go overly feminine, right? Or I don't want to go overly kid friendly. Because again, if I market myself only to kids, again, most likely men won't buy it. But because this is only -1, I'm happy with that. You know, maybe it's neutral, maybe it's just zero, maybe it's +1, but it's definitely not -5 or -10 or something like that, right? If this were maybe a girly horse or a horse, you know, that's pink, or a unicorn, for example, because that obviously crossed my mind, you know, making it a unicorn. Again, men and unicorns don't really gel together. So this is why you really have to be careful when you're choosing a certain identity, right? This, on the other hand, is a bit manly. This, I would say, for example, this one, it's probably maybe +1 or 2 for women. You know, this is probably, I would say, +2 for kids, again, so something really soft. And for the men, this would probably be about +5 or something like that, right? So it's not something overly manly, you know, but it's definitely masculine. It's definitely for men, right? Um, the hairstyle, the fact that he has a beard in his hand, the smile, everything about him, you know, the color scheme, this shows me that this is for men. And if we have a look here at the actual typeface, again, this is for men. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to get that uh, get something. I can't multiple undo. I can't undo several times. I want to have something that's, again, that doesn't push away men. So that was my first concept. Again, this is done with the help of Alex, who's a fantastic designer, one of my former employees and a good friend of mine. And this is the second one. And this second one is, again, slightly simpler. Obviously, this is not completed in any way. This is just a rough draft. By the way, it's really important, guys. Never show work in progress. Never show work in progress. So what I'm doing here with you guys, you should never do for your client, right? If you're undecided like I am, never do what I'm doing here. This is absolutely horrible. If you show your client this process, you're gonna be screwed. I did that a while back because I thought, man, maybe if I'm gonna show him my thought process and the two options, maybe he's gonna help me narrow it down. Maybe he's gonna whatever help me out. It's the total opposite. It's gonna be really, really difficult to sell because really short because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this. It never clicks. It never arrives at a finishing point. Constantly, the client will wonder, maybe we can do more to it. Maybe we can explore other concepts. Maybe we can tweak that. We can tweak that. It's never gonna end, basically. So this is why you never should include your client in this type of thing. Never show work in progress. Only show the completed versions. And when you show the completed versions, make sure that you show them whatever on a jar, on the website, on the mobile app, whatever. And then make a big presentation and just be tada. This is it, right? And then you wait for his feedback. And if he doesn't like it, you take his feedback and then you go back to the drawing board and then again, tada. But you don't show the actual process. You don't show that you're undecided. You don't share your uncertainties, right? You only show something that you're confident in, right? And then here it is. Yeah, so basically this would be the second one. This is a bit more tricky because it doesn't speak to kids all that much, right? So to women, I think overall this is more neutral. This would probably be something like this, right? This would probably be something like this. Maybe actually a bit lower down for men because, you know, men and horses, at least here in Romania, it's not something really popular. and this is quite dainty. It's quite fancy, you know. The horse has to have a smug look on his face, right? The tail should be higher up and whatnot. So I think it should be a happy horse, pretty dainty, pretty feminine. So overall, I don't think men would actually resonate with this all that much, and kids will not particularly find it lovable and whatnot. You know, on the other hand, I think something like this might work a bit better for them, right? Because again, look at this one, right? This is the inspiration, right, of this one. Cute, fun, striking colors. Yeah. So overall, that's the approach. Okay, and yeah, this one is again pretty good. Again, this is something that kids will definitely love. Women will probably feel drawn to, and men won't hate it. And because he has this scarf as well, and because he has these thick strokes, I think actually this would be probably maybe a +3 or +4 for men, something like that, right? So this is what goes into my mind when I'm thinking about building a brand identity. I try and consider what's the target audience and how I can speak to that target audience, and if needed, to purposely push someone away. Again, think about a yoga studio or whatever, the gym only for the women. You don't want meatheads there. How can you push away meatheads without saying so? Again, you adopt a certain language, a certain design language, curvy fonts, very soft colors and whatnot. You know, images with the women that are not overly muscular and whatnot. It's really important uh, to choose your imagery and your design elements really carefully. So yeah, guys, it's been a blast talking to you guys. I've actually really enjoyed this process of streaming. Again, I'm really sorry that I'm gonna stop. I'm actually not sorry. I'm just sorry that I didn't do a better job on YouTube. I didn't allocate enough time for it. But again, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna continue working on Udemy a whole lot and updating all the courses. I'm gonna continue learning Adobe Illustrator, so in the future I may create a course on that. I'm gonna continue translating my book. I'm gonna start actually translating my book, where basically I tell you my life story and how I made $1 million out of Photoshop, because I think that's actually quite interesting and quite, you know, because I think there are better designers out there than me, right? 100%. You know, you can just Google it, you can just YouTube, and I'm sure you're gonna find much better designers than me, right? But on the other hand, I really feel like I managed to to make a fantastic career and a great living out of Photoshop, and I think that's what matters most, at least for me, and in terms of why I'm constantly trying to get my message out there, right? Because again, more talented people you're gonna find everywhere. You know, people that have fantastic illustration capabilities, that people that know how to draw, people that create fantastic logos and whatnot. So I'm 100% confident, and I know my position, that I'm nowhere near an elite in terms of design skills. But on the other hand, again, the fact that I made so many successful things out of Photoshop is something that hopefully I can share with the world, and you guys can replicate it, because there's more than enough room for everybody. So that's been my purpose. And again, I'm not gonna do these streams anymore. Maybe I'm gonna start them in another format, maybe sometime next year. But I'm gonna continue to do videos on Udemy. They're gonna be free. All the updates are always gonna be free. And maybe I'm gonna create a few more videos for YouTube on specific subjects where I really want to nail certain points. No promises on that though. So again, the winner of the last contest for this year is this one. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and if you have anything you want to ask me or whatever, I'm always here on Discord, and I'm gonna continue to do so even though I'm not gonna stream anymore. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Chris signing out. Thank you so much. Have a good one.